Today on the Passion Behind the Art Show, I would like to welcome Praise Express, a singing group that's all about putting ministry first. All right. So the first question is, when this love for music starts? So since it's for you guys, we could go around. When did this whole, what age? When did it start? All that good stuff.
Well, for me, my parents who were in the church, they basically sang everywhere they went, and I went with them because I was, of course, I was the youngest of 6 kids, and I went with them wherever they went. My dad, he sings. My mom sings. After a while, it was the family that sang. So whether at first I didn't like singing until I developed the passion for it because it dealt more with my connection with God than just singing songs.
So why didn't you like it?
Because I have to stand in front of people.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
And you didn't like that.
No, the first time I sang a solo in church, I dropped the mic, went to my seat, and cried like a baby. So I didn't like it.
Yikes. All right, let's keep going around the room.
For me, well, like, first story, I saw my dad and my aunt and uncle singing, but I always had that choice to sing or not to sing. Fourth grade, it kind of developed because I was put into a performing arts school, so the only thing that was there for me to do was sing. And at first I didn't like it because it felt like a chore, but after seeing the benefits and the discipline I had to put myself through at that age, you really don't appreciate it until you see yourself now. I didn't take it serious until she recruited me to start singing for a better purpose in life. And the first time I sang on stage, I was just stiff, and I remember my mom pulling me to the side and giving me the lesson about you're not just singing with your school, you're singing with a praise team, which is better than your school. And she gave me the whole entire talk about how you're here to encourage people to worship and how you should take it serious. And if you don't want to take it serious, you have the choice to sit down. And at that point, I'm just like, well, I do like singing, so why not just give it a try?
Interesting. Keep going.
Well, for me, I started singing very young. I don't know the exact age. Could be 3, who knows. I know it was actually during FDH. That's what I remember. It was FDH, the Sunday night service, and I forgot what song I was singing, but I remember sitting right by the red with the when you kneel down to pray, and I was singing right there. And one of those infamous FDH songs, I don't remember, whatever. So I was singing since that time, singing in the house, yelling in the house. I always used to have like my dad's like deodorant, and I used to use it as a microphone at the house. So it's like legit. So singing was like embedded in me from jump, and then from there to talent and praise team. So I've always loved to sing, but I guess when you get older, you realize the seriousness when it deals with your relationship with God and singing for Him. So that's where it all stems from.
What was that song you sang this morning?
Jesus dropped the charges. Yes, that was the song.
Jesus dropped the charges. At first we thought you were singing Jesus dropped the charges.
This is my turn.
Yes.
Yeah, music has always been a big part of my life. My family is, a musical family. My dad used to have, his speakers and his flashing lights. You think that you're in the club. You'll get in there, you'll have me and my sister and dancing with us and singing with us. So, I've had it around me all the time. I wake up to it, Sunday morning, Saturday morning, you have it there. The first time that I actually officially sang was for a children's choir. It was Children's Sunday, and I had like this little part. And when I did my part, the response was like, "Oh, like okay, all right." And then from since there, I had different opportunities to hone my gifts and um, just do it for the glory of God. And I've always loved music, always loved singing. Singing is a big part of my life. Something that is very important to me. So I'm just so happy that that's the gift and talent that God is giving me to share with the world. And that's basically what I want to do. So, yeah.
Interesting. So when people hear praise express, what is it that you're trying? What is it that they're trying? They should be experiencing. Like, what do you want them to feel? What is the message that you're trying to send across? Like, you hear different singers and they have this kind of staple and feel that they give. What is praise express
Well,
for you?
I mean, the answer to that question is basically on the music that we present. We don't just pick music because hey, it sounds good. Granted, I have given my aunt about like 5 songs that just sounds good, and she's like, "Well, we're not doing that." She's probably the primary one that handpicks each and every song, and each and every song has a message behind it. So before we even start singing the song, we have to make sure the song ministers to us 1st before we minister to them. So to answer that question is basically whatever song that we sing, because the song that we sing, it ministered to us first, and then we ministered to you guys. That's literally the answer. So we're not trying to put it on facade. It's not based on we want them to cry, we want them to feel joy. No. If the song brings you to tears, that's based on the song itself. If the song brings you to happiness, it's based on the song itself. So whatever the message is in the song and whatever you take from the message, that's your ministry and that's basically your worship.
And also, we have adapted the Isaiah 61 for years, where it speaks about the Spirit of the Lord being on us to reach the lost, to minister to those who mourn, to really cater to those who are in need spiritually as well as physically. So the songs that we sing is geared towards creating that atmosphere where someone who's in need can that their need will be supplied through the songs that we sing.
Great, great, great. So I know we all like everything we do. We all have like influences and inspiration. Like as a group and as individuals, who would you say your support system and your inspiration? Who would you say that is?
We all said basically Richard Smallwood.
Who?
Richard Smallwood.
Oh, for real?
Yes. And
Elaborate.
we actually do a lot of J.J. Harrison songs. So
El-
that's
e-
basically
Elaborate that Richard Smallwood, because if everybody's saying Richard Smallwood, they got to be something.
I think it's a feel, but especially like the model song that we sing that people know Praise Express for, Total Praise.
Right.
Like when they hear Praise Express, they think of Total Praise, as Pastor Grant would say,
Amen.
The
The
Amen
Amen
song.
song.
So I just think that feel and then that it's Total Praise. I feel like it's just anybody works to that song, no matter who sings it. But especially when we do it, it's like people just get into the presence of God as soon as that song is being sung. Even when you start off, it just you feel the presence and yeah.
So am I going to get to feel that tonight? So I know that, you know, we have our ups and downs, but what would you say the greatest struggle or the greatest hurdle that Praise Express would have to overcome or is overcoming?
What? Um, it would be Not really stability so much, but um, just people who want to be involved because of the distance, because it's not a church team. It's a group of friends that come together to worship
All right.
and to lead God's people in worship. So we have a few that from Long Island who had to come off the team because of the distance of rehearsal. We have a few that, because of the time it takes, because sometimes we get very busy. And I'm a big believer that if your church is involved in something, then praise express is in the background. I very much push your church being involved in your own church. The good thing about it is we're all worship leaders in our churches. So, it's a base for us.
All right.
And so, if someone can't make it, so it's just that revolving for us who's able to stay. I mean, we have Khalid and Sasha who basically grew up in Praise Express as teenagers, young, not just, very young teenagers grew up. And I said it at the last praise night that the level of maturity in the spirit, it really encourages me that there are other people that are willing to sacrifice and dedicate. Sometimes they might not want to come to rehearsal, but for the fact of we are a group, we're a team, that we come together and it's for ministry, that I think that trumps even sometimes their feelings of coming.
Right, right. Which is good. I mean, especially if it's for ministry, you want to kind of have that centered in what you're trying to do. So, what's some of the goals or the future plans for Praise Express? I know you guys have this awesome concert that you have annually, but outside of that,
I would say to be exposed beyond our four walls, definitely. Exposure is always something that we would be looking into as far as just sharing our ministry with others who don't know. The unique thing about this group, as Sam just said, is that it really is a couple of friends who are just coming together to worship. No one is from the same church. Everyone is from different areas and different walks of life, and just using our gifts and our talents to bring glory to God. So a goal would be to share that gift with others.
so any projects coming?
Well, one of the things we have is Christopher, who is not here right now. He's coming out with his own project. So Praise Express will be definitely be forerunners in that project. Um, we talked about having many praise nights at the different churches that
Mm-hmm.
are involved in Praise Express, and that's something that we're trying to work at this year. We've done things in the park. We've done Fun in the Sun, or some of the other things we've done. We've done like state events. We've crossed denominational barriers, to minister. As long as it's on the name of God, we're there. So just for that exposure to keep happening, and so not that people would just know of Praise Express, but you would know, okay, Praise Express is a team that is going to take you into the presence of God, no matter where you are. And because we follow the motif of the tabernacle, of the outer court, inner court, holy of holies, in just about every event that we have, it gives everyone a chance. Mm-hmm. So whether you're saved or not, there's songs there for you. So it's not praise night is not the typical concert. It's basically walking you through to the presence of God.
Man. So, all right. So you guys are been in music for a long time, and there are different musicians coming up musicians even currently, like what advice would you give for if it's in ministry or combining music with ministry? What advice would you give musicians or just anyone in general that's pursuing this?
I would say keep it centered on God. That's the most important thing. That remember that you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it for the Most High, and that's the pinnacle of everything that we do because God gave us these gifts, and it's not for us to use it for self gratification. It's to give back to God. I think first and foremost, keep it on Him.
Then I would say, hone into your gift. You know, you want to give God your best. Everything, do everything with excellence. When you think about, the Bible, they had the best of the best. It wasn't, mediocre. It was the best of the best. So you want to give God your best. You don't want to, be unprepared or you don't know, what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're giving your best. You understand your tool and you're able to execute, properly. So once you have God first and you couple it with your gift, that's a, dynamic duo right there.
But it's, like with that though, you guys help me out a little. Give me some tips on that. Not necessarily me, but for people that's listening, because that's very underestimated, especially in church.
Yes.
Preparation, preparation, and just taking it seriously. And anyone, sometimes it's kind of, especially when it comes to music and singing, it's just like, let's just go up there and sing.
No.
Not at
So
all.
kind of help me out on that. Like, give me some tips, some insight on even
Why what?
why should you even be taking it that serious in the sense of why can't we just go up and sing? Why can't we just you know get anybody to play music? Why?
We have to be prepared, and it's so funny. We had rehearsal tonight, and at the beginning of the rehearsal, I talked about being a vessel of honor for God. And you can use any vessel in your house to do anything you want to do with it. And I was even giving the analogy that if you get a pot off your stove and you want to plant flowers in it, the pot has nothing to say because it's just a vessel. We need to be that vessel that God can use in whatever situation and in whatever time. So it comes with dedication. It comes with preparation. And even sometimes we prepare songs. And right before we're about to minister, I was like, oh no, we're not ready to do that song. Yes, the vocals might be on point, but we haven't ministered that song to us yet. So we are sometimes very hard on ourselves, and we do try to have a steady rehearsal. That's a big one that we need to have that because not only we're friends and we come together. Sometimes rehearsal is a lot more laugh than learning. And it's a fun time, we enjoy it ourselves. But when it gets down to it, we have to be prepared.
Right.
We have to be. It's not a question about that. We're not prepared to go up there and we sing. We come down there like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some of those times lately. What happened because the ministry didn't happen.
And also, when you're prepared, you don't have to think so hard. You can really focus on the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing, you know what's coming next. You don't have to think about, okay, can I get that note? Wait, what's the words again? And you completely lost.
Yeah.
Or completely lose, the essence of worship and ministry and making sure that someone is touching and the presence of God is there and that those who are there to be healed and to be ministered onto and to get a breakthrough, it can actually happen. Because now all you're worrying about is what God is telling you to do next. Right? If you're thinking about, okay, I don't remember where it just causes confusion.
Yeah.
There's no order and confusion. So once you're prepared, you know what you got to do, you can focus on ministry.
So, and one of the things I kind of want you guys to kind of touch on is how much does this change a service? Because sometimes I think people kind of underestimate like how much music changes a service, how much it changes, just how much it hides things even in the service. You know what I mean? So kind of touch on that because I know, especially Sandra, I know you're a stickler for the notes and the keys and the man. I know. So kind of touch on that, especially the importance, because even it's kind of sad, even though in 2017, I still don't think that, especially in certain churches, that people still don't understand the importance of quality music, quality singing, and how important that is to the service.
Well, I remember my dad. He sat at, I don't know if he sat Xpressed down, but he sat our praise team down, and I guess it was a rough patch where we felt discouraged because I bet basically every singer knows that on a given Sunday you can be singing your heart out, you can be crying, and people in the congregation just looking at you just wide eyed, as if they're just seeing you for the first time. And he explained the importance by going back to biblical times before battle. The Israelites, they always had some type of jam.
Send you the first.
That's right.
And they always had some type of jam going on. And if the song or if they didn't do any type of praise or worship before the battle, they always lost. And when they did it right, and when they had praise and worship before a battle, they always won. And the reason why it's so important is because you're literally, as my mother said, ushering the people to worship. One analogy she made was that if I'm about to cook you food, and you know how you like your food to be cooked, you like the spices in it, but if I don't have that fire on the pot, how am I going to give you the food? Praise and worship literally is the fire underneath the pot. It's basically the congregation, and then the fumes are just the praise.
I like that, boy. Fire under the pot. I like that.
All right, mama, all right.
That's why, even when you think about practice, which I'm going to speak on praise team, when they're the one that's starting our service. So when you think about practice, that's the time you need to get yourself ready, not just vocally, but spiritually. Because when you're coming on Sunday or Sabbath worship or whoever you are, when you're coming in to bring in worship, you're coming in not just with your burden sometimes, but the people that are out there. You're bringing that all on, so you can feel it. So you need to make sure that you're prayed up, that you're ready to worship, because that's what they're waiting for. They wait, okay, what are you doing for me? Yeah, it sounds a little selfish, but that's almost our responsibility as praise and worship leaders. And we all are praise and worship leaders in our own respective in our own churches, but it's almost like we have to keep that in mind, like practice, getting ready, prayed up, devotion, sometimes fasting, getting ready for Sunday to lead these people into worship, because that is our responsibility. And I have been in services where the worship is so strong that there's not even a word. We just continue to pray and to worship. That's how good and how important it also is. I mean, keep that in mind, that sometimes God is just somewhere and He may just want us to sing and worship, and that's it.
Well, we were created to worship.
Right.
We church, and we take a lot on. We hear the word just about every Sunday, but we were created to worship. The angels are worshiping day and night,
Right.
and we have to emulate what they're doing. Then we have to start here.
Yeah.
If we get tired of worshiping, then what are we gonna do when we get to heaven?
Because that's all we're going to be doing.
That's all we're gonna be doing, day in, day out.
Right.
We have to. Worship brings that personal experience also. That God is not out there; He's right here.
Right.
You wake up in the morning, He's right there with you. You go to bed at night, He's right there. So worship is not, you're not doing da 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 da, but you're walking on the street, you're not shouting hallelujah. It's that constant communication between you and God, and that preparation is always going on because you are in tune with Him.
Very awesome, guys. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing, especially on the ministry side, because I think it's a ministry, and I think sometimes that's kind of gets left behind because of the skills and the just the melodious stuff of singing and music. But it is a ministry. I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer. So, are you guys serious? Y'all not gonna sing?
Next time.
You are?
No pressure.
You can do that. I will, you'll do that. No. Okay, we're just gonna do a little bit.
Yeah.
You are the source of my strength. And you are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you, to you. And you are the source of my strength. And you are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to you, to you. You are the source of my strength. And you are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands. And I lift my hands. I lift my hands. I lift my voice. I lift my voice. And I lift my heart. I lift my heart. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise.
Awesome. 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 You guys touching my heart. No, we can go to bed in peace. This was awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. This was great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time out, and it was great seeing you guys.
All right,
It
great
was
seeing
it
you.
was very great seeing you guys. So good night.
Good night.